question for Hemaji. I know you conduct classes, especially online classes, for children from across the world. What is the difference that you're seeing? Especially all your courses are on Indian history, culture and all that. What is the difference between Indian children who attend? Are there Indian children? Do they come in large numbers? What is the difference in the attitude between between the children from India and abroad?
First, congratulations, Charanya. This is wonderful. Like, you've been able to bring on so many games. At the launch itself, I mean, there is a nice lineup, and I'm sure by the time March comes, it'll be longer still. So congratulations, and I'm looking forward. I was just telling Pandeyji, I wish I were a kid. When you gave her Bommalat.
All the games are made for the families, so
absolutely.
Please.
Yeah, I know. Usually, I end up playing all the games that we buy for our nephews. So, yes, I have been. We've been having children from India and overseas. There also, many of them are Indian children. Some are foreign children, but predominantly Indian children, NRI children settled abroad who want to know about our culture. Indian children also. And frankly, I find that the level of interest is higher, like he said there. And secondly, the Indian children are, the level of knowledge is actually lower. The children overseas, they have a higher level of knowledge about culture. And I want to speak a little bit about the word culture also, what our idea of culture is. But whatever said and done, the knowledge about India, the old literature of India, the value systems, the children overseas, the NRI children have a much higher amount of knowledge and they relate better. That's also because of two things. Because once they go there, they have Tamil classes. I know, like my niece's children, he's just 3 years old, he's going and talking about, he has a Tamil class where he has to describe chapati. He can't say chapati, he says chapti. But then they're still sending, they want the children to stay rooted, whereas we don't take that effort over here. That apart, fundamentally, what is culture? Okay, so when we say that they don't relate to culture, whereas our children here don't relate. Culture now, today we have a very limited understanding that it is, art pieces or song or dance or attire or cuisine. But culture, that is the expression of culture. Your true culture is what you hold within you as your ethos. And this comes when you look at மூணு படிப்படியா ரொம்ப அழகா விஷயம் இருக்கு. இது நார்த்ல சில வேர்ட்ஸ் ரொம்ப அது ஆச்சார்னு சொல்லுவா. நம்ம சவுத்ல many people have used the word as ஆச்சாரம். But ஆச்சார்னாக்க it's something that you do, a practice, a habit, a routine. That is achar. Now, when you do something connected with a region, so localized way of doing things is desachar. Very sadly, we call it desangaram or desacharam. So, and we push it aside. But that is localized to a region. So, when you do something in synchronous with your local region, that becomes your desacharam. Then what is this kalacharam? Because we are having Bharata Vilas, she's going to have this game where you're talking about so many states, so many food. Then what really is culture? How is this Bharat united by a culture? So the culture, we often like to say this, and I think we need to say it many times over to stress it. It is the thought that you have to respect the desachar. Every location, whatever is the desachar, should be respected there. And that is the culture. So our culture is not something which is very tangible. It is that intangible vichar. So the vichar to practice desachar is the kalachar. So that is the kalachar which is actually uniting all this Bharat Desh. That every region understands that each respective region should practice its own desachar. There is nothing wrong, nothing to laugh at. And it is the most ideal and appropriate thing for that land. And unfortunately, yeah, and that comes from the word, see, achar also comes from the word char. Char means moving on, what happens, that which is come into practice. And that also gives you a beautiful idea, which is what is going to be the challenge that we are all facing today. We think culture is a standstill, point. Culture is not standstill. It changes over time. The relevance also has to be there. And that is going to be the challenge, because today's times, if you try to speak the values in Ramayana and the stories of Ramayana and all that, we have to see how we can, get them, relatable to our children today. Half the values they won't understand. One very, striking thought and an incident that happened to me yesterday. We had been to one function, and at the end of the function, we were just walking. As we were walking, I found this kind of a plastic water bottle, one empty bottle which was right in the middle, and I didn't want it to, litter the place, make it look dirty. So I just, with my foot, I moved it aside. I took 2 steps. Somebody else had left a half-drunk bottle. So there was a bottle sealed, there was water in it, and I was just about to push it with my leg. Then I just stopped. How can I kick a bottle of water? I mean, the earlier one was an empty bottle, but my heart wouldn't let me kick that bottle of water. I bent, picked up that bottle, put it under the chair on the side, and then walked past. But after I did that, I was thinking, what made me do this? And this is where what you tell the children as they grow up, and the difference between the Desachar aspect comes in here. See, in India, you are brought up with the idea that water is a precious commodity. See, you get lot of rains. In fact, this is one of the places where you get the 3rd largest amount of rains. You won't believe it, especially when we show you the statistics. We do courses in water for people who work in the area of water, and we show them how for the region of India, the landmass, the amount of rain we get is, we are the 2nd and 3rd highest, people who receive the rain. But we get this only for 3 months in a year as a season. For the rest of the year, you don't get rain. So the innate idea, the innate ethos of the Indian civilization is to conserve that water. So whenever it rains, you hold the rain, you catch it, you harness it, you save it. And here is where you get a beautiful tendency of the Indians also. We have been saving. Wherever we go, we save. We save money, we save jewels, we save food, we save anything and everything. That's because it all stems from our innate ethos to save something as common as water. Every drop of water is also precious. So when you are brought up in that mode of thinking, you will think, oh my God, that's water, that's so precious, you can't afford to kick it with your leg. It is like a Devi, actually Varuna, so it's Deva. You can't afford to kick that water. But whereas in like Brussels when we went, or England, that's why they come up with a nursery rhyme called Rain, Rain, Go Away. Because for them, every day it rains. It interferes with their routine, it interferes with their play. So little Johnny has to play, so please rain, go away. Whereas we can't afford to say that. When the 3 months it rains, we are happy to receive it, because the rest of the months also we would love for it to rain. So for them, water is not something that you say, it's something that is like taken for granted. So these kind of innate tendencies, so for India's Desacharam, so when you look at the whole Indian Desacharam in a global context, this Desacharam is to respect water, to hold water precious. Whereas other global Desacharams, perhaps something else is precious, sunshine is precious, which we take for granted. So that is a difference which we have unfortunately lost. And today's children, today a child won't think twice, to kick a bottle of water and go away. Not only this, they even like play bottle flips, with full bottle. They like to play that game. But that's because they don't relate to that water, the source of that water. At least even till our generation, we have seen wells, open wells. We have seen water rising in the wells when there is groundwater. And how does the groundwater come? Only when it rains. So we are able to see some cycle. Today's children don't see that cycle. Which child has seen a well? For them it is only coming from the tap. and almost there is flow everywhere, any society, because the society, somebody takes care to make sure a tanker comes if the municipal water doesn't come and fills the tank. So there is always water in the tap. So they don't relate, they don't have an idea that water is connected with your region, with your nature, with your natural resource. So along with our culture, so when we have the values, we have to give them this background information as to why are these values important. It is not that this is just a value. There is an underlying reason for that value. So that reasoning is very important, and the children are very smart. They will catch it. Once you give them that reason, once you even show them, see, this is a well, this is how things happen, they will catch it. They will bring in that. That is, and another beautiful thing that we used to do, as she was talking so nicely about the education system, the Indian education system is one system which has stressed on softer skills and then the harder skills. So when you are children, when you have a child, you teach them nursery rhymes. In fact, that is one of the biggest gift India has given to the world. Nursery rhymes, all this Jack and Jill and Rain Rain Go Away, or all the rhymes. The idea of using rhymes has actually gone from India. We have written a lot about it, the Indian education system, how it influenced the West. So we have had moral values in our nursery rhymes. So we had Avayars, Aram Seyya Virumbu, Aruvadu Sinam. So these kind of soft skills are taught first and then hard skills. Whereas today we practice the reverse. We teach the hard skills, and then when they go to their companies, we expect the companies to teach them soft skills. And when they are already so hard and rigid, you try to push the soft butter inside, which is very the other way around. So, and that is where Pathshala, that's why we keep saying Pathshala by rote. You were asked to say all these moral maxims by rote. So these are some things, and if you can bring in those in some way into your games and method of reaching it, that will be it will be more effective.
Sure, definitely.